AITA for refusing to go to my uncle's wedding because it's on Halloween. I-16F will be 17 on Halloween 2025. Halloween is super important to me. Love everything spooky. And I was especially excited for this one since it feels like my last chance to fully enjoy the holiday as a kid. Okay. My uncle and his fiance recently announced they're getting married on Halloween. They have a baby and she has 3 kids from previous. When I heard about the wedding, I immediately asked how my cousin, my uncle's daughter from her previous relationship, felt about it. And she was upset too. I told my mom I didn't want to go and that I wanted to spend Halloween with my boyfriend or friends instead. She wasn't happy about that and told me that everyone else in the family was excited and that my uncle and his fiance were planning to have candy for the kids and that I could participate in that. But I'm going to be 17. I don't want to spend my night out grabbing from a random candy bowl with little kids when I could be out having fun. My mom thinks I'm being selfish and that skipping a family wedding just to go trick-or-treating is immature. I get that this is a big day for my uncle, but I feel like they chose an inconvenient date for a lot of people, and I don't think I should have to give up my plans because they picked Halloween. AITA for refusing to go to the wedding and choosing to celebrate Halloween instead.
I mean, look, kid, just go to the damn wedding, you know?
Really?
Oh my gosh. With it.
I'm absolutely in the other camp.
I had a feeling we might fight. I had a feeling me and Paul might fight. I didn't know where you were going.
Yeah, I'm
like
with you.
Look, I don't feel any strong feelings about Halloween. Maybe that's it. But also like,
no, I don't.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do things with and for your family that you don't love. But this is a family thing. You're like, you have so many more Halloweens to go have fun.
That's true.
The difference between like, well, I'm 17 this year and next year I'm 18, so I can't do Halloween.
Ridiculous.
I guess I don't understand that.
No, I'm with you there. I
don't understand that mentality.
My last chance to fully enjoy the holiday as a kid. It's like, give me a break.
I don't buy that. I understand more if it's like, you know, that's surface level, but then heart level is like, I don't like who my uncle's marrying. And it makes me upset that my cousin is upset with like who their father's marrying.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm sympathetic with that.
It's a second.
But like the whole family's going because it's a wedding and that's what weddings, you know, families go to weddings. So part of being in a family is like, yeah, it sucks. It's not going to be fun, but sometimes you have to go to these functions as a family and there are sacrifices in a family. That's my first take, draft.
I'm not too surprised with that.
Maybe my feelings are different specifically because Halloween is kind of a cool holiday and a big deal to me in my family. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it would
But they're doing
change.
Halloween fun at the wedding.
They're giving out candy.
They're giving out candy, I think is what they're giving out.
Is everybody dressing up at the wedding? I mean,
the bride and groom are.
Like Halloween is this...
Wow.
They're dressing up like bride and groom though. They're playing a normal part, and Halloween is about doing something different. Sure.
Yes.
And I even disagree with both of you on the 17-year-old thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that like being a 17-year-old on Halloween is kind of a big deal, and it's, you know, I can look back at it as someone who's much older and be like, it really is not a big deal. Sure. But to her, it's a big deal.
But yeah, take us through it. I guess it's not crystal clear to me just because it's a kid holiday, because you go around with your friends, or like, yeah, where's your head at when you say that?
Well, I think we can all agree that Halloween is going to be very different when you're just a 20-year-old, 30-year-old person. You know, you go out to like a Halloween party and you hang with your friends, whatever.
Sure.
But there's something very specific about being a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and how important those years are to you and how important they feel at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in retrospect, you could say...
I'm seeing it now.
In retrospect, you could say it wasn't that big of a deal. But when you're there...
Yes.
When you're living it, you're 17, you're 8, like those are really important
years. It's a friend holiday. I think that's what you're on.
Yeah.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, those are family holidays, but not Halloween. Halloween is not with the family.
Halloween absolutely
is a friend holiday.
And what's going to happen is she'll turn 18, they'll graduate, you'll leave your friends forever. You'll never see these people. But this is your last chance to like do something with your friends that's kind of this fun event where you get to dress up and be a little crazy and not be yourself.
That's not lost on me. I know, like, you can't just invalidate someone's feelings. Like, you're 17. You don't have to worry about being an adult yet. And you haven't experienced like certain life things. So the things that you are dealing with and feeling are real and they are big to you, and like it being an important thing. That's not lost to me. I agree with all of that. And yet I still feel like, yeah, but also being a part of a family involves certain like, oh God, that's really disappointing that I have to go to this wedding.
Well, I think we might figure out there's a values difference here. Mm-hmm. And I think Nick really nicely illuminated the fact that there is an asymmetry here. My 35-year-old Halloween is simply not equal to this. 18 to 24, 16 to 24. Those are special years with your friends. Those are formative, special years.
Absolutely.
Music from 16 to that's the music. You know what I mean? That's where the music happened for me, at least. I think for a lot of people.
You probably are still listening to that same music.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. It just hits different. And yeah, it's Skrillex and Deadmau5, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. So don't judge me. But that's just what it is for me. All right, people. This music I like. I'm not proud of it, but I like it. Mm-hmm. Now, my issue here, my model for this as an armchair kid haver is autonomy. The autonomy of the child. And in my view, a 16-year-old, that's very close to a person. That's very close to an autonomous person. And obviously, they're still your child and they're still under your house and in your household. And I do think this age is an age where that person should be able to determine something like this. Because my idea is they don't want to go to the fucking wedding. It's a second wedding. It's a second wedding. And the fact that they don't want to go is almost enough for me. I'm like, yeah, they don't want to go. You know why they don't want to go? Because they don't care about the uncle. They don't care about this relationship. And so why are they obligated to go? They have a strong, compelling reason, not a bullshit reason. I think Nick has painted that well. It's a strong reason. It's a unique event. And they don't want to go, and that's their right to not go. That's how I feel. How would you address that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. There's also like, you know, there's more context around their relationship with their parents. Like, are they currently living a life where they get to hang out with their friends a lot? Or is this kind of like this is the last time I'll get to hang out with my friends? I don't know. Also, there's another fix here. Like, I think how I would approach this, if my child gave me this very strong argument, I'd be like, come to the ceremony, you can leave at the reception.
So you would compromise it. That feels very reasonable.
I would compromise. I would say we're still going to go as a family, then go to your party.
Is reasonable. But when I think about this, even let's forget about the 17-year-old wanting to have Halloween. If my brother scheduled his wedding on Halloween, I love going out trick-or-treating with Elena. I love it. I probably would not go to my brother's wedding if he scheduled on Halloween, because he made the mistake of scheduling it on Halloween.
That sounds so extreme to me.
Isn't that crazy? I don't know. I feel like he had a choice in this situation.
But also with
schedule that on Halloween or don't.
But also with the little kids, like, you're oftentimes going trick-or-treating on the day that's not Halloween, depending on what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
There's like multiple days.
The Friday prior or something like that.
Yeah.
If he did it right on Halloween and it wasn't the day that you go trick-or-treating, like, okay, let's say Halloween was a Wednesday, and, you know, I would probably take Elena trick-or-treating on Saturday or something.
Sure.
The Saturday before. Then I'll go to the wedding.
Yeah.
But if the wedding is on Saturday and trick-or-treating is on Saturday, I'm going to have to tell my brother that, like, guys, you should not have scheduled it on Halloween.
This is a factual matter, though, because we have the date of the Halloween. It's 2025 Halloween, which falls on a Friday.
That's right. So, listen, I mean,
that's crazy to me.
That's crazy to you?
It's just...
You know what, though, Paul? I'm sorry, but you did this. Your wedding was on New Year's, wasn't it?
I know.
And don't you see, though, even though that that pudding...
I understand New Year's.
I think it's you're right. Well, but that kind of goes to what we're saying. Right. I think it's unusual that Nick likes Halloween so much.
Right.
Nick's
I understand
weird.
the
That's,
value.
we knew that. No, but that when you throw a holiday wedding, you're asking for trouble. People have established traditions for their holidays. And so you're going to essentially be competing with those traditions.
I mean, like with our wedding being on New Year's Eve, we also knew that certain people couldn't come because of other family obligations for New Year's Eve.
Right.
It is what it is.
So New Year's, you're like, that's reasonable. We knew that was going to happen.
But if my brother was like, dude, my New Year's Eve bash, I can't come to your wedding, I'd be pissed.
Well, to be fair, you would be familiar with your own brother's traditions, hopefully.
When did this happen?
Would it make a difference if the wedding was on Christmas?
I mean, we would just never do that.
But what if your brother was like, we're going to get married on Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, we'd still go to the wedding.
You'd still go to the wedding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's your
Because it's
brother.
family.
It's so intense.
If it was a friend, it depends on like how close is this friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we haven't moved Paul. But for me, I just think a 16-year-old, if the 16
I can be flexible and compromise,
You could give us
but ultimately,
let's say the wedding it's a destination wedding, so they'd have to fly out. So the compromise is impossible. Where are you on that?
if it's a destination wedding,
Or whatever, not a destination, but it's in a different city. So it's not possible to split the difference here.
oh, if it was in a different city,
Yeah.
I would have our child come with us.
You say the 16-year-old has to come.
Yeah, and I know they would hate it and they'd be angry. But
What if they're 18?
then I don't know. Like, do they still live with me?
Yeah, they're 18. They live with you.
I'd probably still. I can't physically force them or anything, but I would make a strong like.
But you could
You need to
coerce
come.
them. I'll kick you out of the house if you don't come.
I wouldn't take it to that though.
Oh, if they said
I wouldn't be that hardcore.
Oh, interesting. So once they hit 18, if they're like,
But I mean, even 17, it's like I'm not gonna I'm gonna kick you out of this family. But I would make a very strong case of like we do things as a family, especially with any sort of like family.
I don't want to go.
celebration.
Well, I don't want to go, Dad.
That's not a good enough excuse.
Well, Halloween's very important to me.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go. Do you understand that? I don't.
Great. Wear a costume to the wedding. I'll buy you some candy on the way.
I don't want to do it. I want to celebrate with my friends, and I don't care about Uncle. This is his second marriage. I don't care.
It does suck that it's a second marriage.
It's this weird family thing where family should, obviously you're obligated to your family, right?
Sure.
But if you force this 17-year-old to go to her uncle's wedding, then she's not going to have a good time anyway. She's going to be
Yes.
upset the whole
Yes.
time.
That's a great
It's going to
point.
cause a rift between you and your daughter. And it's just like, for what? For the second marriage of
Yeah, that's a great point. I may be getting swayed right now.
We're trying to sway you, Paul.
I want to know more details about like who this person the uncle's marrying.
What I love is that I'm immediately going to go home and tell my wife the situation, and I promise she's going to 100% agree with me.
And I know my
love
wife is going to
that.
agree with
and
me.
I know that Esther would agree with you. So this is why we have a good relationship.
Yes.
Which means we need to have an episode with both your wives.
Esther would never.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She won't be.
She's a therapist. She doesn't want to do this
Oh,
stuff.
she's not there. Okay, I didn't like this stuff. I don't know what that
I mean, like,
this sort of
This
stuff
crap.
you do in your
this
little
crap. Well, I need therapy now.
to talk on camera about
No,
stuff.
I'm,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's sad, but Anna doesn't like it either. She doesn't like Reddit. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Anyway, yeah. Do we shift you at all? I mean, 16.
I'm swayed.
You're swayed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have not abandoned my original stance.
I think what you're saying is valid. I think for me, when I think about, a 12-year-old, it's like, it's a little harder for me to be like, well, that's an autonomous person. I'm like, they need to understand the value of family or whatever. But like, yeah, once you start to get into these upper ages, I'm like, you do need to kind of get your hands up. Like, that's a person and they get to make these choices. That's a human being, man. That's how I feel.
I would love to ask my mom what she would do. Because now that I'm thinking about if it was my mom and me in this scenario, I feel like maybe my mom would not force me.
And on another note, the uncle shouldn't even be upset. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God,
like
100%.
If
Wait,
you
did
show
they
up
say
and you're
the
like,
uncle
hey, the 17-year-old stayed because it's Halloween, the uncle should be like, I get it. We planned on Halloween. It was the only day available at this venue that we really loved. That's fine. He's got other things to worry about.
I
So it's like
100% agree with that.
And that's actually where I would like to meet you, because I find that the most palpable. If the parent was saying like, okay, but I'm gonna let my brother know, I'm gonna let your uncle know, and we'll see what he says. And then the uncle calls and says, hey, I really want you to be there, because maybe he does feel it. Maybe they're close enough, right? And the uncle calls and says, I really want you to be there. And then the kid says, all right, I'll fucking go. Then it's like, yeah, and that is respecting them as a person.
Yeah.
As an autonomous being.
I'm with you on that.
Rather than being a little bit tyrannical. And I understand, obviously, you guys know more than me about this. You do have to be a tyrant sometimes as a parent, part of it.
Yeah.
But I do think we're talking about a 16-year-old, AITA for refusing to go to my uncle's wedding because it's on Halloween. I think we're all lined up.
Are we?
They're not they're just being a kid. They're not an asshole.
Yeah.
And so are the parents being an asshole for saying that OP is being selfish?
Well, I also understand that response as a parent, like, yeah, sometimes you're not in the mind space to like fully see everything from your kid's perspective. And you're like, stop being selfish. Like maybe the parent is also like, I have to go. So like, we all have to
If I have to go, you're coming
it's
with
a
it.
second wedding. I have to go to the second wedding.
So
Like, I'm angry that I have to go too. Stop being selfish.
I don't want to go.
I mean, there's all sorts of little factors, because if it was a destination wedding, you can't just leave a 17-year-old kid home.
It
So
gets
maybe
complicated.
They have to
It gets
go. They have to
complicated.
get on the plane.
It
but
gets complicated.
It's like it all gets complicated. But to me, it's just like the only situation I could think of is the one you're talking about, where maybe she was really close to the uncle and his feelings would be hurt if she wasn't there.
But most likely the uncle's like,
Most likely, the uncle's like, I got other things to worry about.
I'm getting married to my
100%.
second wife.
I got to make this
who has
second
3
one
kids.
work.
It's already your household, bro. AITA for refusing to go to Mount. So yeah, so I think we're at not the asshole and soft the parents are. She's being a little pushy. Pushy.
I can live with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We brought Paul in, dude. Freaking air fist bump to the Halloween is for kids point. Guys, thanks for doing the show. It's 6:44 and 20 seconds. Paul is on a tight schedule as always. Plug.
I'm Paul Schissler. You can follow me at Paul Schissler on all platforms. Thanks.
I'm Nick Jack Pappas. You can follow me on all platforms at Pappiness. It's happiness with a P. And I also am on Substack under moraluniverse.substack.com.
Boom. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.